It's spring in Indianapolis. Everything's in bloom, and the air is bright with bird song and re-emerging life. Spring is like a perhaps hand coming carefully out of nowhere, E.E. Cummings wrote. And after a long winter, the burst of spring indeed astonishes. But you can hear something else downtown, or rumbling along the banks of the White River. The greatest spectacle in racing is coming. They call the Indianapolis Motor Speedway the Cathedral of Speed. And for me, and 400,000 annual pilgrims like me, that distant roar we hear brings a smile that lasts the whole month of May. The Indy 500 is not just a race, it's community. For me, it means long bike rides along our city's beautiful canal paths down to the speedway. For others, it means tailgating with friends and family, some of whom you only see once a year. It means backpack coolers and headphones, and decades-long arguments over who's the greatest driver of all time. But the Indy 500 is also a car race, and the best one in the world. A race so thrilling and wondrous that it brings together more people than any other sporting event on Earth. This is Indianapolis. All around town, the checkered flags are out, porch parties abound, and everyone's invited. And this is the Indy 500, where we see what humans can accomplish in concert with twin turbocharged V6 engines and Firestone tires. This is the Brickyard, where they've been racing since before any of us were born. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
We now know the pole sitter for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. It is Robert Schwarzman and Prema making history. Now we move on to race week. Welcome back home again to Indiana. It's practice number 8 for the 109th running of the Indy 500. We're ready to go out on the circuit where the 33 cars will now test their skills. Let's cross over and get started. Will Buxton, Townsend Bell, and James Hinchcliffe with us in the breaks.
Fashion. There were positive stories. There were some more complicated stories yesterday as well. Let's take a little look at what happened on Sunday here at the Speedway.
And it started first thing in the morning in practice. Qualifying Scott McLaughlin, one of the favorites for pole, defending pole winner at this race last year. Massive shunt in turn 2, completely destroyed his primary race car.
And then things got pretty dramatic on pit lane during top 12 qualifying as Team Penske frantically tried to make changes to their rear wing attenuator after a series of controversial activities on pit lane. But for the last chance qualifier, Will, this got wild as well.
It really did. Rena's VK withdrew his time, went slower, but his teammate Jacob Abel was not able to make the field of 33. An awful position to be in. Teammate knocking out teammate. And then we got the run for the Fast 6, and what a run it was from the rookie, from the new team, Robert Schwarzman. Just an incredible result for everybody there at Prema, because it's not been an easy season for them. It's his first time ever on an oval. Of course, his first time here at Indianapolis. And he starts from the pole. Right, let's get into the deep dive stuff, guys, because Penske, their 2 cars for the 12 and the 2 were found with that modification on the attenuator. They were withdrawn from top 12 qualifying, and we've heard this morning with breaking news that those 2 cars have been removed from the top 12 and put all the way to the back of the field. They will start 32nd and 33rd, confirmed by IndyCar president Doug Boles this morning.
We have decided to move the 2 and the 12 car to the back of the grid. They will start in 32nd and 33rd position. The 2 car first are 32nd and the 12 car in 33rd based on their qualifying times. The 3-car attenuator from the crash with the crashed wing still attached to it was provided to us, and we still have it. That attenuator was not modified at all.
So Will Power and Joseph Newgarden to the rear of the field. The teams have been fined $100,000. Their strategists, BlueSky and Sindrick, have been suspended for the second year in a row for the Indy 500. The teams forfeited their qualifying championship points. James Townsend, this really shows the gravity of just what Penske did that was so egregious to the rule book.
It really does, but it was such a bizarre situation on pit lane as we were trying to figure out exactly what was going on, along with all of the other teams on pit lane that were pointing out, hey, you can't come out here with blowtorches, chisels, and disc grinders to start going to work on your race car after you've passed through technical inspection. The only changes allowed physically to the car, wing angle changes and tire pressure. That's it. So it was so bizarrely obvious that something was dramatically wrong, and then the last 24 hours have proved to be very dramatic.
It was so bizarre, James, because we hear later that the number 2 car failed technical inspection, and yet we've just seen footage of it being wheeled out of pit lane. What was it doing on pit lane in the first place?
We did hear that, Will. We've also heard that it didn't pass technical inspection. We've heard that neither did. We've heard that both did. Part of my issue with this whole situation is we've heard 3 or 4 different versions of the quote-unquote truth, and frankly, I don't think anybody really knows where it lands. That's what's been so tough. The way that the penalties were dished out is kind of confusing because per IndyCar's own rules, once the timing sheet is signed by the scorer on Saturday, those results are official. Whether the cars are legal or not on Saturday, it's almost a moot point at that stage. I hate to say that, but it sort of is. So I'm not even sure sending them to the back was the right move. It's very confusing. There's a lot of confused people in pit lane and in the paddock as well.
Well, one man who can hopefully bring some clarity to all of that is Doug Boles, who's standing by with Kevin Lee.
Doug is the president of IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So let's go through a few things here. How was this discovered?
So when the cars came through tech yesterday, I guess, going for the Fast 12, the 12 car went through, and as Rocket and the team looked at it, they realized that there was something they thought might be in it, illegal, frankly, with the rear attenuator. But as you continue to push cars through, they kept pushing cars through. When they saw the 2 car was the same, which came a few cars after the 12, they actually realized at that point for sure that they were not legal. They told the car chief on the 2 car at that point in time, please call the car chief on the 12, tell them to pull aside because neither one of those attenuators is legal.
Has it happened before where a car that might be illegal has been sent to the pit lane? What is the protocol for that circumstance?
So the protocol is once you present to tech, you have to follow the rules, even after you've gone through tech and even if you get a sticker. We have pulled stickers off cars before. Sometimes a team car will come through afterwards and we'll find something on a team car and say, hey, the team car that came through before that passed, we need to go look at it as well. So it's not common, but it's not unusual for that to happen. The teams must be following the rules. Just because you have a tech sticker and made it through tech does not mean you're not subject to tech at any point in time by the IndyCar officials.
The 3-car McLaughlin keeps its spot. It crashed. Have you been able to see that attenuator and determine there was no fill in it even with the crash?
I asked to see all three of the attenuators. We have them all impounded. Obviously, I've been on a team side, so you can tell that 3-car attenuator in the crash was not modified at all. It was as it should have been. Completely different from the 2 and the 12 attenuator. So we know for sure that the car, at least in practice yesterday for them, was a legal car. Therefore, we felt like they didn't present it qualifying. They should start at the back of that qualifying group, which is how the rule explains they should start.
Is there an effort to determine if the car was legal on Saturday or previous events?
Look, the lawyer in me says I can only react to the facts that I have. And so I spent yesterday and last evening trying to figure out the facts of what happened yesterday and to make sure that we knew 100% that the 2 cars that we were about to penalize even further had actually violated that rule. So that has been my focus up to this point, is making sure that we take care of the facts that we know. I can tell you that the cars passed tech on Saturday. I can't tell you, I wasn't there on tech and I didn't look at the attenuator, so I can't tell you exactly what it was, but I do know that it passed tech on Saturday, and they were one of the 30 fastest cars to lock into the Indy 500 after that qualifying.
What's been the reaction from the paddock, from stakeholders? Did that have any influence on adding penalties when originally it was, hey, this is only a Sunday thing, we're not going back to Saturday? and that therefore that's why they would start 10th, 11th, 12th.
And those are the only facts I have right now. And so that's why it is where it is. Like I said, you've got to make these decisions based on fact. There was a lot of rumor in the paddock yesterday of who found what's going on. And that's why, for me, I spent a lot of time yesterday trying to really understand it. And when I talked to a handful of people at 8:15 last night, the purpose was to say, this is where we are today. In a normal race weekend, we deal with fines and other things afterwards. As the night went on for me and I started thinking about it, this is the biggest race in the world, and integrity is paramount here. And to be able to start in 12th and 11th and 12th, places they might have qualified anyway had we let them qualify, was not fair in this situation. And to make sure people understand how important this race is, they need to go to the back, there needs to be a fine, and there needs to be other penalties.
Final thing, with them moving to the back, was there any consideration for Jacob Abel, the 34th car, who passed Tech and did not make the race?
He passed Tech for the 31st, 32nd, 31st through 34th position. He did not pass Tech for the Fast 12. These cars failed Tech for the Fast 12. They passed Tech for what happened on Saturday. So there really isn't a mechanism to do that at this point in time.
Thank you, Doug.
Appreciate the time from Doug Boles. Appreciate Kevin Lee's questions. I'm left with more questions. There wasn't a mechanism to allow Jacob Abel into the field, and yet there is a mechanism to move drivers that have qualified for the top 12 out of the top 12 down to the back of the field. Doug said in the press conference this morning, and this is a quote, "We have gone beyond the rules to move them to the back of the field." There will be a lot of people out there watching this, Townsend and James, a lot of fans of Jacob Abel, who wonder why he, in a legal car, does not automatically get the 32nd spot on the grid, and Penske simply have to choose which of their drivers takes the 33rd. Because if you're willing to bend the rules in one way or create a new rule to move them out of the 12 down to the back of the field, why can't you do the same and allow Jacob Abel in a legal car to make the field?
I have a feeling that that discussion and those questions will be lasting the week. But what I am left with, as we sit here right now, James, is that number 2 Shell Team Penske Chevy, which is the car that we have been celebrating for its racecraft, its performance, for Newgarden's ability to carve through the field, will start at the back of the Indy 500 and will likely electrify all of us with some bold moves to get back to where he thinks he probably belongs. So I focus forward. There's no question we'll be debating all of this, but this is going to be one hell of a car to watch come race day.
Well, look, guys, we're going to find out over the next 2 hours where they already stand. You see Newgarden's up there in the top 10 in times right now. As you say, T-Bell, he's going to be starting at the back. He's going to have a lot of traffic, a lot of dirty air that he's going to deal with. This car was probably expecting to be starting up front, have a setup that's maybe a little more akin to running in some cleaner air. Now these guys are having to focus on how to make passes on the racetrack.
Speaking of passes on the racetrack, Jack Harvey. Hollywood goes to P2 and makes a late move there getting into turn 3. I was a little concerned that that was too late, but now we think about racing in Indy, and I think practice gets a lot more fierce now going forward, including Carb Day.
Of course, the last 2 days have been all about trimming out, getting the cars ready for qualifying, getting ready for ultimate lap time. Now the cars dialed into their race specifications once again, packed running on the day today. This is where we see what everybody's got for the Indy 500.
We got Yellow's out and a car's crashing.
Oh no, into the wall!
Second time he's lost it this week off of turn 2. The first time, light contact. Now a little bit heavier. The right rear damaged.
Yeah, into the wall then goes Christian Rasmussen. Just lost it coming out of 2, but perfectly makes contact with the wall, exactly like Kyle Larson's crash the other day. It was not going to be that much damage. There's no damage to the Speedway car. There's a broken rear right toe link. That's going to be absolutely fine. We're going to get the pictures up for you now. Watch, he comes out of 2, just knocks the rear suspension, and that is what causes him to go into a spin on the infield section. He only hits the rear of the retaining wall, perfectly square on, exactly like Kyle Larson. There's going to be no damage there. That is long lasting. Here it is again from the turn 2 camera. So he comes out, loses the rear, just touches it ever so slightly, the perfect kiss, side on. Then he'll lose the speed, he'll lose the momentum with the rear tyre flapping around like a broken wheel trolley. Let's take a look at onboard then, we see. This is from the back. Yeah, you can see from Ericsson's car how it happened. So caution is out. And yeah, during the ad brace, we'll get JT in on this. Oh, here's another angle of it. So yeah, just knocks the wall and then loses the interior. Look, it's walking around like a shopping trolley. There's the nut failing. But it's the perfect accident in many respects, just to touch on sideways. Let's head back to the world feed.
Second time for Rasmussen that he escapes largely unscathed off a turn 2. I mean, to do it once is super rare. Twice now with just minimal damage, almost unheard of here.
I'm really impressed with that save because we've seen some big accidents this week with guys who've started to lose the rear and it's just gone on them. For him to be able to hold that once and then hold that second slide and just nudge the wall, that was an impressive save from Rasmussen.
I mean, guys, just compare this to the accident in turn 2 from McLaughlin yesterday. Yeah. The results and result very, very different.
Great point.
So it just shows you. Just watch, because you said, T-Bell, this is the second time it's happened. Watch inside the cockpit. His hands come off the wheel like, what is going on? What am I missing here in 2?
Well, I think it's probably just asking way too much of the tires given the turbulent air and trying to find that feel to be able to anticipate that and really be in touch with what's going on with the right rear. No more important relationship here at Indy than that of a driver and a right rear tire. As we take a look back to Rasmussen's crash on Thursday.
Same place. They'd only just repainted that bit. Just put it straight back in the same place. So that was the suspension damage that he did back on Thursday. Bit more substantial today for Rasmussen, who'd just gone 5th fastest out there on track. At the moment, it's Pelot from Hollywood Harvey, his teammate Ryan Hunter-Ray, Will Power, and the aforementioned Rasmussen.
So yellow flag is out, and we will go into the procedure of just cleaning the track up. And for, I would like to say hello to JT if you're here. You're in the call. You are muted, but are you here? Time of the caution, by the way, for that is 18:12:24. If you wanted to listen. Still behind then with the yellow flag then here at the Brickyard. Oh, no, that's not there. Currently looking at the pagoda. Look how wonderful the pagoda looks. It's a beautiful atmosphere here in Indianapolis. Everybody's getting ready. I know exactly how much of a thrilling weekend we could have. Yep. So currently on the top step, it's Alex Pelot, 226.765. Jack Hollywood Harvey is second, 226.048. And yeah, let's get into it ourselves then with the discussion on the expulsion almost of the Penske team. Scotty Mack actually now is the highest qualifying IndyCar driver for Penske, despite the fact he crashed the car and didn't do any qualifying. That's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Just trying to have a look at the moment. Scotty Mack has gone out. He has done a time at 1:53.456. Trying to have a look where the other Penske guy, Will Power, is up in 4th, 225.631. Joseph Newgarden is 7th on a 225.126 as we head back to Fox. 1 hour, 41 minutes to go then. We're under the yellow here at the Brickyard after an accident for Christian Rasmussen.
Saturday, it's baseball night in America, featuring 2 of the biggest stars in baseball, as Shohei Ohtani leads the Dodgers against Juan Soto and the Mets. Or the Guardians take on the Tigers. Check local listings for the game in your area. Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox. Right, under caution at the moment for Rasmussen's spin. Georgia is down on pit lane around about Kyle Larson.
And Kyle Larson made it back to the Indianapolis area just earlier this morning as he raced his full-time job in the NASCAR Cup Series, the All-Star race, just yesterday. Kyle needing these laps today, and I just talked to the team. I said, what is the biggest box to check off today? And they said to get our downforce dialed in. They believe the conditions today are going to be similar to race day, and that's something they are really trying to work through in this hour and 41-minute session left.
Great to see him back. And we will be back shortly at the Speedway.
The 83 car, your pole sit-up, is rolling down pit road then. Robert Schwarzman will get a go out there on the circuit. As we take a quick look, this is the additional message in full. The number 2 and number 12 entries of Team Penske have been penalised for violating Rule 14.7.8.16 related to the discovery of modified alternators. The cars will be moved to the 32nd and 33rd starting positions for this year's Indianapolis 500. Additionally, IndyCar is suspending the team strategists for the number 2 and number 12 for the remainder of the event. Both cars will forfeit their qualification points, and each entry has been fined $100,000. It is very surprising, as the track has now gone green, so we will go back to running with an hour and 40 minutes left of this practice day. And immediately out there goes Will Power, Christian Rasmussen, Connor Daly, as well, Alexander Rossi, Callum Ilott, Devlin DiFrancesco, Louis Foster, Christian Lundgaard, Simi Robb, all heading out there, Marco Andretti, all getting their runs down on the circuit. Armstrong, VK as well, who bumped out his teammate yesterday, which was never great. But I suppose it's the situations at play at the as things stand. Car circulating then, and very much needing to here at the Brickyard, because of the unique situation that we have. I wish we had that camera. This camera here, the Pagoda. Imagine this on race day here on JBMotorsports. I wish we had a camera like that.
Welcome back to
Fox.
Indianapolis, where we thought we'd give you a history of the sport's newest team. Founded by Angelo Racine back in 1983, a place where Jacques Villeneuve and Max Verstappen raced in their youth. And with 80 championships, 40 team and 40 driver titles over their 40 years of history, they are one of the most successful teams out of Europe. Their boss, René Racine, son of Angelo, wasn't even here yesterday as the team was racing in junior formula in Europe. He was actually on the plane last night. I was texting him. I think he may have had probably a few deserved glasses of champagne on that flight on the way over as he flies in for the 500, for which his driver, Robert Schwarzman, will start from an incredible pole position. Had a very quick catch-up with Robert last night as well. I think it was all just starting to sink in, the achievement of what he has done, what that team has done here at Indianapolis.
Well, it makes this practice session have a totally different kind of focus, I think, for this driver, because now, listen, at a minimum, you know you're going to lead the field to the green flag for the biggest race in the world. So, James, maybe you do things like on the in-lap, you know, if a caution comes out, you think about how you're going to potentially practice restarts at a slow speed if you had an opportunity. I guess that really makes sense on caution comes out. But you think about a narrow line into practice for the opening lap. You think about what is the balance of my race car in clean air? What kind of pace do we have to lead this thing? I'll bet if you look back 4 or 5 days ago, it was all about running in traffic, getting comfortable. Hey, we're likely to qualify mid-pack somewhere. Now, it's a completely different psyche for the driver and team.
Very much so. And part of it, T-Bell, is if you're starting in the back or if you're starting even mid-pack, as we see out Rossi there make a late move on Kyle Larson, who just came out of the pits and was blending into traffic. but you would have been thinking, all right, we're going to have to start with max downforce. We're running in dirty air right from the beginning. Now you can work on your car with a slightly lower downforce level. Try to anticipate staying up front all day. And then if you have to, make that adjustment. Have the team practice making that adjustment of adding downforce in the pit stop in case you need to later in the race. There's lots of things you can try.
Not to mention the added pressure to the crew members going over the wall. Imagine what's going through their heads right now. Oh my goodness. Every pit stop is going to be potentially so much more on edge for us because we're going up against the very best in this business. Chip Ganassi Racing certainly factors with 2 cars up there. You've got an Andretti car in the mix as well. And I don't know, I just think it totally changes the game on pit lane.
And pit stops haven't exactly been Prema's strength this year. They have struggled with those. How important is it, guys? Because they are a brand new team, but they have experienced people. How important is it now that those experienced people like Piers Phillips running the team, who has been here many, many times, that they bring their experience to bear in terms of, right, this is how the next week is going to look for us. This is what we need to practice, even if it's getting the pit crew into the shop every day and just running stop after stop after stop.
Yeah, it's vital. It's absolutely critical at this phase. You know, there are a handful of members on that team that have been through it from different roles. They, you know, obviously, if you say Piers leading the team, he's been through it before. Some of the engineers like Robert Gouet, they've done it from the engineering side. Some of the mechanics have done it as well. So there's people at every level of the organization that have done it, and those need to be the ones that sort of lead the rest of their respective groups on what to expect and how to approach these next few days.
It's such a great point because you know that the message from management probably all year is, hey, we're learning, guys. We know there's going to be some mistakes. We know it's going to take some time. We're going to be patient. They didn't expect this.
You've got to learn now from P1. You've
Yeah.
got to learn at the sharp end.
Looks to be some really good cars out on track right now as track temperature hovering around 111 degrees. Everybody able to pit off turn 4 in anger for the first time. Get used to where the brake bias needs to be set, the timing of when you decelerate off turn 4. So many little things now to start to work on. You'll have this hour and 34 minutes left, and then one final 2-hour session on Friday for Carb Day.
Daly being passed by Devin DeFrancesco, and now he makes his move past Kyle Larson. I had a good chat with Connor this morning. I said, how you doing, mate? He said, great. I went to bed, I woke up, and I'd gained 2 places on the grid.
Yeah, all the Saturday qualifiers would have had that feeling. You see Hunter Ray driving for DRR, again, coming in, practicing. That pit entry, T-Bell, it's such a good point. This is a huge, huge change from how the drivers have been running so far all through practice week. You pit off of the decel lane in turn 3 off the back straight. Now you finally get to practice those hot stops, hot approaches to pit lane, which is such a different deal. It can be so difficult. And we're just taking a look here of when Larson came out, tried to join in the middle of the pack, and you sort of see seamlessly blends in there right behind the McLaren of Lundgaard.
Perfect.
Still about 50 miles an hour lower than the other guys are going. So you see, I think that's Daly behind him has to pop out.
Listen, you have nowhere else to go but the low line where everybody moves down, chasing the draft ahead.
Watch this. This is an unheard of thing here. Very rare thing. A pass into 2 on the short chutes. I saw him do it to Rossi. I saw him do it again to Connor, the next car up. Rossi gets checked up a little bit with the cars in front through turn 1, has to lift. Kyle timed this one perfectly, Townsend. This is not a typical pass, but really, really bold and heads up.
Yeah, listen, it happens plenty on race day in the checkup, but for Monday practice, you don't see a lot of it, as you can hear Rossi hunting on the throttle and probably thinking to himself, wait, what? You're going to go for it in the short chute? That kind of sets the tone for what to expect for race day. All etiquette seemingly out the window at this point as Jack Harvey moves to the front in his number 24 Invest car. Looks pretty racy out there in traffic right now.
He's P2 on the chart, so clearly the car's comfortable in traffic. He can use that draft. He pulls away a little bit from the car behind. That was Marco Andretti. Quick shot there. Scott McLaughlin back out there in the backup car. First laps that he will have run in the new machine with which he will attack the greatest spectacle in racing. Kevin, how are the thirsty threes feeling with what they've got in this backup car?
Yeah, you never know. You want to make sure it feels good, and the speed chart and the time doesn't always tell, but just the first few laps, he's only done 4 laps, he said car feels good. So I'm sure a sigh of relief for Scott McLaughlin that the backup car so far feels like the original. By the way, they have their race engine in. They went ahead and changed. The other Chevys have not. They will wait until after today and put them in before Carb Day on Friday. Remember, this is the opposite of what the Hondas have done. They put theirs in before the qualifying weekend.
Yeah, we were talking to McLaughlin yesterday, and he says, look, I'm gutted that I had an incident, destroyed my race car, the primary car that the team had put so much work in, but at the same time, if there's one team that you can have a healthy amount of confidence in to have a backup car, not just together, but up to speed as quickly as possible, and as you know, I have a car with as much speed in a backup, it's going to be this one.
Okay. He'll pit off turn 4, having satisfied, I think, himself and his crew that the backup car is feeling pretty solid. They'll probably pit, plug in, check everything out, and my guess would be send Scott McLaughlin right into the eye of the tornado here and get in a dirty air and really start to mix it up.
Guys, after Fast Friday and then 2 days of qualifying, I've missed seeing a ton of cars on the racetrack. Yeah. We've been watching single car runs for the last 3 days. This is fun.
Schwarzman on pit lane. Those front tires don't look very happy.
Looks to be shuddering and vibrating as if there might have been a lockup coming to pit lane. Let's take a look here. Oh boy.
That's Robert getting ready for the race.
Yeah. This is so important, though, guys. These are the kind of mistakes he's got to get out of his system now. You cannot afford mistakes like that on pit lane. If you're fighting for the front of the Indy 500, even went past his pit box there. Nerves starting to set in, Will, or is this just...
Sorry, something is wrong.
We're saying something is wrong. Maybe just something not totally right in the brake system.
We've seen Indy 500 wins lost for pit speed violation. I'm thinking Scott Dixon, 0.1 mile of an hour.
Did you see that
pit
right
speed
front?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, a massive blister as you take another look here at Robert Schwarzman, learning how difficult it is.
And that's still running.
Yeah, but that's not totally unusual. That's just how bad the cars handle in a straight line coming to pit lane. Barely the contact patch on the track as Schwarzman contemplates leading the field to green next Sunday.
Well, we're continuing on as we get ready for 1 hour, 28 minutes to go as God has joined us now. Because during that advertisement, Fox left the international feed on this image here of the pagoda. And JT then subsequently texted me as well, saying, have Fox forgotten about it? The second that message comes through on my phone, the international feed switches back to the Fox pictures. So, JT, exactly, you're muted on Discord as well, by the way. Just as a heads up. What the hell are you doing? I'm planning to do next. Now you're deafened. Now he can't hear me. He said, yeah, now he can hear me. Hello. What are you planning to do then for the rest of the year if you've got this?
I am God. There is a reason that when the first broadcast, me and Jake Sansom were on together, I became the voice of God. Well, it's come true once again. Rest of the year, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, we've got a couple of things coming up, Le Mans included, after this.
Is JB aware that I'm not here on Saturday? I don't know.
I know you're not here on Saturday. You literally put that very crystal clear. And on Wednesday, when we do the production meeting, I'll have a little panic myself.
Ah.
Especially if I can't find something, so I'm chatting at the house tomorrow. Or I've got to order a new one. Just looking around the box to think if it's in here.
That is all I'm saying.
Well, what do you rate of the Penske situation then as well, and the 2 and the 12 getting kicked to the back of the grid? And should Jacob Abel be allowed in?
How to dig yourself deeper into a situation without making yourselves look like absolute idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's also the fact that they've been fined $100,000 each, but that money is just going right back into Roger Penske's pocket. So effectively, it's the old attitude of, here you go. And there is a flat tyre on, I believe, Schwarzman's car. Let's head back to Fox.
I got a feeling that one's not going back on the race.
No, but this could be the first time that Robert Schwarzman has ever tried to brake in anger off a turn 4 in Indy and really try to experiment with where the limit is. And it is not easy, specifically because of how different the setup is for an oval over road course as the yellow comes out for track inspection. We'll take a closer look here in the side-by-side of an IndyCar road course configuration and super speed. Massive difference on the back of the car with rear wing size, and then front. Look at the difference in main plane, end fences, and those upper elements on the left-hand side of a road course wing. But James, the differentiation doesn't stop there.
No, that's the aerodynamic. Let's look at some of the mechanical ones. On a road course, the camber is the angle at which the tires are tilted in from the top. You'll see them both. We call it negative camber on a road course. On an oval, we only turn left and it's banked, so we take that left front and we add positive camber to it. So that means in the corner, more of the contact patch is going to be on the racetrack. But when you're on a flat piece of racetrack, like coming to pit lane, you're driving on almost none of the tires. That's what caught out Robert Schwarzman. But again, these sorts of things you have to start getting through. You got to minimize, actually you got to eliminate those mistakes before we get to race day.
To be fair to Robert Schwarzman, I think it might be the first time he's used his brakes this week. It's been rapid. Georgia is down, I think, around the medical center.
I am, and Christian Rasmussen has been seen and released. He let me know that he is okay, but what happened?
Yeah, I mean, same thing as the other day. We went out in the same. Just touched the wall there, and then we were just crabbing, trying to hold on to it, and eventually went. Yeah, I don't know. We went out with that same setup that we were running the other day when we spun, but we kind of blamed it on it being because of the old tires. But obviously now we were on new tires, so I think there's maybe just something about that particular setup that doesn't really work. So yeah, we'll have to look at that. I'm just bummed for the guys. It's we're into race week now, and it's just not where we want it to be.
Was there anything that you could have done differently there?
I mean, there's always things you can do differently, but we're trying to prepare to race week. We're trying to run as close to the cars in front as we can, especially with how hard it is to pass. So it's, I mean, you got to try to do something, but yeah, we got to look at what we have and then reevaluate.
It does seem like the car hit pretty square. Is there hopes, or do you believe that you'll be able to get back out today?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't heard how extensive the damage is yet, so we'll see. If we can, we will. If not, then we'll wait till Carb Day.
Glad to see you're okay. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
Well, thanks to Georgia and to Christian. Welcome up to the booth. We have had guests up in the booth all the way through this week, and I always say how happy we are to have them up here. Jacob, I hate that you're here because you should be down there, man. I mean, we're delighted to have you here, obviously, but
me too.
I'm so sorry. We all are. What a valiant effort.
Yeah, thank you. You know, it's tough. We had a good week, and that's kind of what makes it all worse. Is I really didn't think that I was going to be in this position. I think all the drivers, of course, have it in the back of their mind. You know, if they screw up, that is an option to be involved in that bump day and go through that process, but. It was a weird thing. You know, we were conservative all week long. We had pace. We felt like there was some natural speed in the car. You know, we were always a little bit more conservative on downforce and everything, just being a rookie and all of that. But, you know, we were still running competitive times, especially in the Noto. And then, yeah, it was super strange. Friday to Saturday, it's like we just mysteriously lost like 3 miles per hour. And then basically every single time we went out after that, it was just slower and slower and slower no matter what we did. You know, we ended up trimming and being just as trimmed as all of the cars around us, or even more trimmed. So, yeah, a bit of a strange thing, and it definitely sucks. Definitely sucks to be here, but at the end of the day, you know, we're still at the Indianapolis 500. I still love this place, you know, more than anywhere in the world. And Yeah, I'll still be here all week long because, you know, there's nowhere I'd rather be right now.
We're going to come back and ask you a few more questions in a moment. Kevin, though, down on pit lane has an update for us on the number 9, Scott Dixon's car.
Yeah, Scott Dixon's car is back in the garage now. They discovered some temperature warnings. You see Scott now posing with fans, signing autographs as he makes his way back here. They had some temperature warnings. So there is a hybrid error. They stop before there's any damage. They are assessing, no timetable yet, if this is a quick fix or if it might cause them to miss the entire session. They're hoping on the quick fix side.
Well, thanks, Kevin, for the update there on the number 9. Jacob, you wake up this morning to the reality that you're not in the Indy 500 and also to some pretty significant news about the penalties to the Team Penske cars based on the technical infractions with the build of their race cars. Is there a part of you that reads that and feels I should be in this race now?
Yes and no. You know, I do see all the comments. I do appreciate everyone's support and everything, saying that, you know, we should be in the race because, you know, we were legal and all of that. I do appreciate that, but at the end of the day, you know, we knew what we needed to do on Saturday and we knew what we needed to do on Sunday, and unfortunately we just, you know, fell up short. We came up short. I want to be in the Indy 500 more than anything in the world, as I'm sure, you know, you guys can relate to, but you know, I don't want to be there on a technicality. You know, I want to deserve to be there. You know, we had our chance just like every other car did. And we didn't make it. You know, simply put, you know, we had issues with our cars, and yeah, as much as it stings, there's a reason we aren't there, and we knew what we had to do, and we didn't get it done. So yes, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate everyone, you know, chanting that I should be in there. But at the end of the day, you know, we knew what we had to do, and we couldn't get it done, and that's kind of the reality that we're going to have to live with.
Jacob, it's a difficult situation to be in anytime a driver is dealing with the whole bump day saga. I've been there, I know the feeling, but it was an added element for you in the sense that really the driver you were going against was your teammate. Just kind of talk to me about what the dynamic was like in the team down on pit lane yesterday, even, you know, yesterday morning going into the day, knowing that this was a possibility.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it makes it that much worse, to be honest. We're a small team, there's no question about it, and we really are a family. Renus and I have grown very close the past few months just because of kind of the things we've had to experience. And at Dale Coyne Racing, we all have to work together to succeed. We don't have a lot of the same resources that a lot of the other teams have. So I think that really makes us one big family and one big team. And all of a sudden on Sunday there, we're, as much as it sucks, we're trying to beat each other. You know, I want to be in the race. At the end of the day, it's the 51 car versus the 18 car, and that sucked. That made it that much worse. I mean, you saw Renus's reaction there. He didn't smile when he got in, and it's like it sucks. And it was, you know, I got a little bit of hope there at the end when he went out and went slower. I'm like, this could get real. You know, we do have a shot at making it in there now, but it's just never how you want to do it. It's just a real bummer that we were in that position going against each other.
Did you know that move was coming for them to pull their time and go back out?
No, I mean, talking to Renus, it was really a him decision. It was a thing that he wanted to do. He wanted to go out there and have the fate in his own hands. You know, he made a little bit of a mistake and forgot to charge the hybrid on the out lap, and he figured that was why the whole run was slow, and he needed to go out there and do it. And I, you know, fully respect that. That takes a ton of nerve, a ton of guts. When he went out there and went slower, I did get very excited. You know, I thought we would really have a chance at it, but as much as it sucks, right? Like, I don't want to bump Renus. If there's one person that I don't want to be competing against, it's him, and everyone, you know, on the 18 car in our same team. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, we're here to support him now. I hope they find something in the car that's going to give him pace, and he'll be able to move through the field on Sunday.
This is it. You know, as you say, you're a massive part of this team, great friends with Renus. Are you going to be in all the engineering briefings going forward? Will you be on the stand? Will you be able to be there to help and to advise with everything that you've learned over the course of the last week?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I'm a rookie still, right? I'm just trying to learn as much as I can every single weekend, and I think Renus has a lot of experience. I think everyone on the team has a lot of experience, and I'm just going to be doing what I've been doing all year, and it's trying to be a sponge, trying to soak in everything that I can so that, you know, when our opportunity does come, I'll be as best prepared as possible.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much for coming up here. We're all gutted for you, but hopefully if the last 24 hours has shown you anything, it is just how much support you have out there from the fan base. They adore you, man.
It has, for sure. Thank you.
All right. We'll be back to Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's just typical, isn't it, really, JT? We've got loads of cars out on the circuit, and we barely see any of them. Yeah, and there's the international feed. Well, we'll take something with it as well. Ah, actually, best seat in the house, because we've got the onboard cameras of the track field, just noticed in the corner next to the pagoda here. So actually, we can see what's going on the circuit, which is a little bit of more of a great news to us back here. Right, JT. Jacob Abel, he said no, we didn't qualify. Hello. He's not going to be there. We're not going to do anything like that. How much is it that, yeah, you should be there. You should be, you know, racing. You shouldn't have to accept that Penske are in because Penske are in.
I'm not going to get into IndyCar politics because, well, we all know how sensitive it is with the whole Penske team, Penske ownership. It's Penske car. They really haven't helped the situation here, have they? They've penalised Penske, but they've done it in a way where it shoots them in their own foot, and they're just giving money to each other.
We've got the action out on the circuit then at the moment. Cars drafting out there as well and getting ready. This is sort of like a mini carb day, isn't it, really? Everyone's now in race trim. They're out there setting up for the race, and we get 2 effective carb days. But, of course, the engine's still slightly turned down. We're only doing 226s. A few of them on the last speed runs as well, doing 215s.
Yeah, they'll be just making sure everything's okay with the car before carb day.
And then we just noticed as well, have you seen where the Fox studio is? It's on the podium. How on earth are they going to de-rig that quickly? Who let them go there? That's the question. Right, 1 hour, 14 minutes left then here on the Monday. Practice 8 for the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. Let's cross back to Fox.
Indianapolis is all about traditions. And on Monday at 12:30, all the drivers get together for a photograph by the pole winner. Lovely to see everybody out, and I have to say Louis Foster's moustache is it's getting pretty impressive.
You know, the fun thing about taking that photo so many times is you actually have a rare opportunity to actually chat with a few drivers. You're so busy here during the month of May that I always found, I haven't even had a chance to say hi to James Hinchcliffe. We've been out on track together in close quarters competing, and it's kind of funny that you spend so much time here during the month of May, you actually don't see each other very much.
It's usually just the drivers in the pit stall, maybe before and behind you kind of thing. There's a small little realm that you sit in. VK there, late dive out on his former team boss, I believe, out that Carpenter.
I think that was David Malukas also, and Kyle Kirkwood going too wide through turn 1. So one of the fun parts about this practice, now that you know you're in the show, Will, it's a bit of carbon courage, let's call it, as 3 wide now down the back straightaway.
Below from the Creed wagon, your pole sitter, and Will Power. Nice little group, that.
It's a big group if you really go all the way up. I mean, you talked about working in close quarters on pit lane in the paddock. How about the close quarters on the racetrack? Look at that. The entire string of cars. Only about 10 cars not on the racetrack right now. So very, very busy. Everyone's starting to get a sense of what it's going to be like in a week's time. A couple drivers just leaving pit lane. Going to join the back of this queue.
How do you figure out how much wing level you're going to run? Is it all based on starting position? Is it based on comfort in the car? We've got a yellow flag for debris on track.
Debris out.
Yeah, how do you
Everybody's pitting off before.
How do you figure it out?
I mean, it's a little bit of trial and error. I mean, throughout the week of practice, you will have tried different downforce levels, different downforce configurations to see what feels best in traffic and what feels best out front. And then, yeah, certainly once you know where you're starting, that is going to have an effect on where you end up starting your settings.
And the teams have these super sophisticated spreadsheets where they can look at the total downforce number based on wing angles and gurney flaps that are added and all the aero bits, and they kind of have that downforce range based on experience and the weight of the car. But there's nothing, as James said, there's nothing quite like testing it for real, and most importantly, how does a driver feel about the downforce level?
pause in action on the track. It's a good opportunity to head off and return.
So, caution's out, and nothing really happened in the first 50 minutes of this session. Still got an hour and 11 to go. JT, does it feel like this one's going slower than all the other practice sessions combined? Yeah, he's not. Maybe that's because we're very tired. Do you know how long I slept last night for, by the way?
Go on.
I slept from 3:30 a.m. until 2 p.m.
Not bad.
Not bad after being awake all day since Thursday. I feel okay, which is good. Carb Day is on the 23rd. The Legends Day is on the 24th.
Why are we using fake car noise, Fox?
The 25th. What, sorry?
Why are we using fake car noise?
Good point. There's no one out on track. I didn't realise that. You say that and they stopped. JT is the producer, people. How do you do that?
That's the second time.
Okay, well, JT's now the new producer of Fox. And of course,
It'll instantly improve, don't worry.
Yes, it would. There is actually a car on track now, which is good news. There it goes. There's a couple going up. Yeah, just a quick thing as well. Yesterday was the last Fox broadcast of the year for NASCAR, and it ended with a spectacular race. The All-Star was great.
Didn't we have like a flag on the track?
Yes, Michael Warchip put out the promoter's caution and dropped it on the circuit.
I didn't realise it was Michael Warchip who
Yeah,
threw it.
it's on Fox and NASCAR. He's waving the flag. He puts but the problem is the promoter's caution is supposed to be random. We weren't supposed to know when it was, but Fox put him on camera and he was going to the crowd 10 laps, 5 laps, 4 laps, 3 laps, this lap. So everybody knew when the caution was going to go out, and all the drivers just lifted off and didn't make any moves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back in Indianapolis, cars back out on track after a brief pause for some debris out on track. Now, we've been talking about Robert Schwarzman as a rookie here at the Indy 500. He is on the pole, but he is learning his way. Has a little look to duck out from behind Sato, sees that Polo is there and blasting his way through. All of this crucial experience for the driver of the 83 Prema.
Look, it's going to be hectic on race day, especially during pit cycles. So all of these situations are going to be things that you experience on race day. Cars blending in and out. So it's good lessons to learn. But, you know, look, we hadn't spent a lot of time focusing on the Prema cars in practice during race running. To be fair, you know, when we heard from Hunter Ray, he pitted right by them. He said, look, they actually spent a fair amount of the practice week already working on qualifying sims because they were a little bit worried about making the show at some point in this month. So this is probably one of the most, you know, times they've spent in race trim, right in the thick of the action, and we're kind of getting our first look at how that car seems to be handling and how Schwarzman seems to be handling the situation.
I mean, dude, this is the thing, right? This is one of the craziest things about Schwarzman being on pole. When we turned up here at the start of last week, the question wasn't, will Robert Schwarzman be on pole? It was, will Robert Schwarzman make it into the field?
Right. Absolutely. And I think from the beginning of Fast Friday, he started putting up times where we would kind of look at each other here in the booth, and then we would look at the no-toe, and it registered legitimately. And then, you know, my mind immediately goes to, well, he's a rookie. What he doesn't know, he doesn't know. Then the more you start watching his technique behind the wheel, it's mistake-free. It looks very much in control. And then once we got into Saturday, it was like, okay, this guy is for real. I mean, you talk about the number of drivers that had totally mistake-free runs. He's right in the mix there with the drivers that have been here 15, 20 times. Simply amazing.
An incredible achievement. But the biggest task now stands ahead of him, leading the field to green for the Indy 500.
So, Fox go to break. The 14 goes back out on the track and sent in Ferrucci as well. Rasmussen's car's being brought back into pit road, by the way. He might get out for the last hour. Yeah, so just go. What were we talking about just before the yellow came back out?
Yes.
I can't remember either.
We were talking about a chaotic weekend.
That was it, Michael Waltrip and the yellow flag, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody in the NASCAR, they just lifted off. And then he waved the yellow flag, he put it out, and it flew out of his hand and fell in front of the drivers.
Now, it looked like he did it on purpose. The way it just, like, didn't it, though?
Yeah, he did, like, oh no, it's gone! What a shame! I'm out of here.
Right, hold on. It literally...
Oh, hang on. Let me put you on. When you're ready, I'll put you on full screen. Right. Well, hang on, I've pressed the button too early now.
Right. It literally, right...
You
look,
show off!
Right.
Show off with the yellow!
Right. It literally looked like him just going like, oi.
Yeah, that was it. Out it goes. It's gone. Off it goes. How come you've got a yellow flag? How many flags have you... I didn't know you actually have flags that could wave.
Green.
Hang on,
Go. Yellow.
Wait. We're not on the screen yet. Wait. Right, go on. We've got your screen now. We can see you.
Green. Track's clear. Yellow. Someone's binned it. Red. Someone's binned it too hard. White. Alpine on track. Checkered. You're done. Meatball. Your car's wrecked. Rain on track. Safety car. Blue flag. You're slow. Last lap. Car's leaking. And you're done. Stewards hate you. My floor is now covered in flags.
Yeah, he is well prepared. Hang on, wait. Go on.
My floor is now just covered. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah,
that.
it's your commentary box is with flags. I've just got the checkers behind me. Okay, well, JT's being very annoying because he's got all the flags that I want. See, this is where I would put all my flags. If I had some! Yeah. Let's go back to Fox.
What's our average pace? Is it 217? Is it 219? Is it 221? And like we talked about earlier, getting your team used to making adjustments on pit lane in the race under duress to the front and rear wing.
Is it easier or beneficial to have a great qualifying car and to then add downforce to that for a race car, or to get your race balance sorted and then trim for qualifying?
Good question.
That's a great question. I think typically if you've got a strong qualifying car, you're just adding downforce. That's just adding security. It's adding grip. When you're in qualifying trim, you pull the downforce off. You expose the mechanical setup of the car. So if you're qualifying well, that means you've got a good mechanical balance. So adding downforce is just adding grip and confidence. So I probably think that way is probably more beneficial.
However, a lot of teams will have a completely different mechanical package for qualifying. It's not just aero. Right? So you might run much stiffer springs, different geometry, could be different wheelbases for qualifying. So it's not as simple as just piling the downforce on for race trim. So I think for Schwarzman, there's a laundry list of things for Prema Racing to start thinking about as a legitimate contender to win this race, to go try and win this race, as seemingly the entire field now is in one mad pack practicing for next Sunday.
This is great to see. It's getting me fired up. Just about 7 cars not on track at the moment. Very, very busy racetrack here at IMS. In fact, they're moving around so much, it's almost hard to get a grasp of who's got pace out front or who doesn't, because no one's staying out front for more than half a lap.
And like we always talk about, you just don't know where people are on tires. Some people went out on new tires for this run, some people on old tires. How about the number 2, Joseph Newgard, once again passing with ease, and I can tell you, according to our Firestone data here, he has 10 laps on his tires. There are other cars like Nolan Siegel that have a lot more. Nolan Siegel shown at 21 laps on his tires.
You'll hear us talk about spotters. during the race, and you will hear the spotters talking to their drivers during the race. But where do they stand and what can they see? Kevin, you're up there.
They can see everything, and for the moment, I can see everything. This is a great spot to be. So my broadcasting career in racing started up in a turn at the Indianapolis 500 for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network, and I was right over there. We're in turn 1, by the way, right now. I've been in turn 2, and I've been in turn 4. I have never been in the radio perch, was a little bit below us, and this is, I think, the best view here, especially if you're in one of these seats right below us. But this spotter stand is not bad at all, as we see Ryan Hunter-Reay has got around Christian Lundgaard to lead this pack of cars. And on race day, this is awesome to see them try to get by here 3x3 at the start of the race. And now as they head down to the backstretch out of turn 2, Georgia Henneberry, they're coming towards you.
Hey, Kevin, we were doing this radio style. I'm up here in the turn 3 spotter standing. You can see him coming down the backstretch right now. A huge, long pack of cars side by side, one by one as they enter into turn 3. I'm up here in the turn 3 spotter stand, though, and if you follow me this way, you can see each individual team, their spotters, zoned in right now, making sure nothing's happening, letting them know what's going on each track. But if you follow me down this way, I think this is very cool. And Kevin, I have to ask you, did you take an elevator up? Did you get the luxury of an elevator? Because we climbed 115 steps to get up here, and these spotters have to do that every time they go up and down turn 3. But if you follow me down this way, Sparkles, I want to show you just how long the backstretch looks from up here, because it really gives you an idea of the speeds that these drivers and teams are facing. Come on down this way. You can see the spotters, they're giving signals, they're telling you what to do. Come join me down here as they make their way into 4, down the front stretch, down the pagoda. Like I said before, we're in turn 3, and before they get back to us, I want to show you just what this view looks like. It's incredible. You can see the dirt track at IMS. You can see where they're putting up the snake pit. Going to be a big party there on the day of the 500 and even Carb Day. But here they come down the backstretch, and look, they're here, and then they're gone. Just like that. Such an incredible view. Something that a lot of people don't fully understand, and it's actually breathtaking up here, guys. So
Love seeing that. Thank you, Georgia. And of course, next week on Sunday, this place will be packed to the rafters, a sellout. 350,000 people, the single largest single-day sporting event on the planet.
See Ryan Hunter-Reay making moves on Christian Lundgaard there. Level set on tires, these two cars. 6 laps for Hunter-Reay. And for Christian Lundgaard, 7 laps on his Firestone. So a pretty good apples-to-apples comparison right now for these two working together.
Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of this back and forth as Hunter-Reay dives into the pit lane there. He's running about 218-ish, plus or minus a few tenths of a mile an hour when he was out front. You can see this kind of front half of the field a little bit more spread out. Behind them, there's a train being led by Nolan Siegel. And that's got a much more packed up group behind him. Ed Carpenter, Callum Milot, Felix Rosenquist a little bit further down. We ride on board now with the number 14 AJ Foyt machine, Santino Ferrucci. He is in this lead battle. That's Lundgaard, the white car up front. Rinus VeeKay in between.
This is a really good angle if we stick here for a lap or two. Because Santino Ferrucci has 23 laps on his tires. So let's just ride for a lap and listen how much harder it is on used rubber. This would be like the last 5 to go in a stint right now, Will. That quarter span rear gurney across the rear wing, and James, just listening to the throttle, I'd be pretty encouraged if I was AJ Foyt Racing and Santino Ferrucci for the tire mileage that they're showing. 25 laps on the tires right now. That looks and sounds excellent.
It does look and sound pretty good. It's always hard to tell in these situations because sometimes drivers are lifting off to fall back. In this case, I think we heard Ferrucci into one lift off to stay behind Rinus VeeKay. Just wants to get that extra lap or two in the dirty air. That's now Newgarden behind Ferrucci. Both of them have passed the 18.
So Ferrucci leads the group. Newgarden 18 laps on his tires.
Clear to the bottom.
That basically completes a stint or almost a full stint for Santino Ferrucci, and that's one I'll circle to definitely have an eye on for race day.
Well, it is the 60th anniversary of AJ Foyt Racing. The 60th season in the sport. 5 IndyCar Series championships, 45 wins, 3 here at the Brickyard.
"55 minutes to go then here at the Brickyard on Monday testing. It's Alex Palou leading the way as things currently stand as well from Jack Harvey, Reinhard Ray, Will Power and Christensen Rasmussen as well. There's AJ Foyt watching in the flag, watching in the pit box area as well. A 4-time winner around this great circuit as well. Let's say hello everybody as well. Don't forget, we'll be back on Friday with all the action from Carb Day, followed then also by the pit stop practice. And then the greatest spectacle in racing. We will be live on air for that one. Commentary team will be announced as well for that. Multiple people down pit road as well for when we come in, keeping an eye on different strategies and different cars. Yeah, Megan's already going to be in the box, so will JT and Jackson Lambros and a few others will be around. It's our big one. Suits as well. Suits will be on, and wonderful dresses and clothes. Car still circulating. JT's just sorting his flags out. Rolling them back up again. Really wish I had a set of flags. Might actually buy a set of flags now. 2 things I've always wanted in my life: a Coles 4104 lip commentator's microphone and a set of racing flags. I mean, I've got 3 checkered. There's what's behind us, but can't wait that. That was weird. The Sky went to an ad break for the first time ever. So, Harvey, Power, Rosenquist. Yeah, Rosenquist is back out on the circuit. Rasmussen, Newgarden, Larson. No, Rosenquist now dives into the pit lane, just as I was saying that. I was wondering why he was going slow on the driver tracker. How many cautions do you think we'll get on Sunday? Our own Jess has asked. I personally think we will have about 5, maybe 6.
Shows you the turn 3 spotters stand, but sitting just below the spotter stand, we have found Ryan Briscoe, 2012 Indianapolis 500 pole sitter, but he's in a new role here. He's driver coach for Robert Schwarzman in Kalamai and the Prema team. Obviously yesterday, a huge day, massive day for Prema. Robert Schwarzman sitting on the pole, and I have to wonder, what advice did you give Robert?
I mean, honestly, it was amazing. You know, firstly, from the whole team, everyone, but his composure was like phenomenal. I was helping him to stay calm, stay focused, just focus on the job and just repeating, you know. There were little bits here and there. You know, we've got so much information now. We can, in between like the fast 12 and the top 6, we could go and review the video, look at the telemetry a little bit. We just looked at a couple little things. It's just like, I try to give him a little pointer that's going to help him be smooth, consistent over the 4 laps. And he really executed it. Like his final pole run was the best run he had all week long. His 4th lap was almost as quick as his 1st lap, which was amazing. And that's what we were really working for on that consistency. But just what an effort from the whole team. So exciting, and we're still just pinching ourselves.
How can you put into words just how massive that feat was to take over the pole for the Indianapolis 500? After all the cameras go away, everyone's gone, I'm sure you were still there with the team. What was the mood?
Just, you know, it's a brand new team, and not with an alliance with anyone. You know, this team, Prema, they've come into IndyCar this season, just moved into their race shop a few months ago, but with some really smart people, put together 2 really fast cars, and yeah, so a lot of excitement. There are a lot of people that are brand new to IndyCar racing on the team, and I don't think they realize what a big deal this is, you know, and I was sort of telling them, like, you don't realize, you know, there are people in this paddock that try to do this for decades and don't get that sort of success. So I was, yeah, just trying to remind everyone how big a deal it was. But, you know, today we've just shifted gears. We're into race prep. It's race week and a whole new deal. But we're going to have a team celebration tonight to enjoy it, get everyone together, and, you know, and then just heads are in the game for next weekend.
Very well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Ryan Briscoe.
What an incredible asset to have in the organization as Robert Schwarzman contemplates not just what's going to happen on Sunday, James, but everything to expect as the pole sitter leading up. Appearances, media, the responsibility in pre-race to really guide his driver to be the best prepared rookie pole sitter perhaps in history, because Briscoe's been there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have started this morning with the front row photos, have the cars out there bright and early, getting those iconic shots, and as you say, there are some extra commitments that come along with being on the front row, but also just some extra responsibility, because come Sunday, as that field lines up for the parade laps and the pace laps, you are setting the pace. You are setting the tone for what's always an iconic picture, the field of 33, those 11 rows of 3, and you have the responsibility of controlling that field and taking it to the green.
And possibly the greatest decision of Robert Schwartzman's racing career is when will he drop the hammer from pace speed to race speed, and how is that dance going to happen?
You think he'll have Ryan on the radio to him going, wait.
He might. Now, I'll tell you what he will have is Pato O'Ward on the outside of the front row, so anxious, along with Sato, to maybe jump the rookie and be the one to lead into turn 1.
It's funny you saying that, you know, Ryan obviously is such a huge benefit for that team. It speaks to the history of Prema and what they've achieved over 40 years that Ryan's one of their former drivers. Ryan's one of the guys that they guided through the junior formula, and they just have him on their Rolodex. And they could just go, yeah, Ryan Briscoe. It'd be pretty good to have in the IndyCar team, actually. Ryan, you free? Yeah, sure, I'd love to come back.
I mean, can't think of a better guy to help guide that young team. And as Georgia just documented and Ryan mentioned, he should be incredibly proud. He is, and is thrilled for the team. But you know, he had a massive input and a massive difference in terms of the success that they experienced yesterday. We talked about the Chip Ganassi, number 9 of Scott Dixon, going back to Gasoline Alley early. Let's check in with Kevin Lee for an update.
So still in the turn 1 spotter stand, but I have received information that we are not expecting Dixon back out in the final 50 minutes or so of this session. They got some things done, but I know there were still 2 or 3 more things they wanted to tick off their list. They had an hybrid issue, so they took it back because the temperature warnings were coming up in their telemetry. So no more Scott Dixon, it looks like today.
Thanks, Kevin. 48 minutes remain on the clock here. Still Palou, Harvey, Hunter Ray, Power, and Rasmussen, the 5 quickest drivers of the day so far. Connor Daly, 6th fastest. Then Newgarden, Larson, Dixon, Rosenquist, your top 10 as Hollywood. Having a look at the back of Little Dave, Ed Carpenter, Alexander Rossi.
And look, it's not the end of the world for Scott Dixon and the 9 machine. You still have 2 hours on carb day. The closer to race day you get, normally the closer conditions you get as well. Right now, kind of tracking both carb day and race day to be a little bit cooler than what we're seeing here. On top of that, normally manufacturers are being a little bit protective of how many laps you do on the engines. You want to make sure these things are still peak and prime when it comes to the 200 laps that matter the most this month. So again, it sucks to not get through your test list, but I'm sure there's also still plenty of time to get done what they need to get done, and maybe even more representative conditions.
Well, speaking of representative, let's watch the Pennzoil onboard here is Scott McLaughlin, because he has 25 laps on his tires, where we're looking at end of stint. This would be to 26. Does he pit? Because it sounds awfully difficult to hang on here. He's quite a ways back of the car in front. Let's ride for a lap now and compare this to Ferrucci, who we saw earlier.
Copy, you got one more lap of fuel left. Your right body's there. Clear behind him.
Some high percentage decisions being made right now from McLaughlin, knowing he's only got a lap of fuel left, that those tires are worn. But I'm kind of with you. He was a little bit further back from that train in front, and most of the cars in front seem to be able to run a little bit closer to each other in the corners. And Malukas, who was right in front of him, on very similar length tires.
Yeah, I think Ferrucci, there goes Santino Ferrucci, who probably has fresh rubber on. He does, 8 laps on Ferrucci's tires. But apples to apples, give me Santino Ferrucci's
on this lap off turn 4.
balance and performance as Kyle Moyer calls McLaughlin to pit lane, and Will, a really great read for us, because if McLaughlin's out of fuel with a lot of lifting in the corners, this gives us an idea that a full stint is right at 28 laps for the race, unless you're doing mad fuel save early on, because James, they probably would have filled up McLaughlin and put new tires on. That would certainly be my speculation. McLaughlin to pit lane, braking looks just right. Ferrucci making another move.
But it's below quickest from Harvey and Hunter Ray.
Five minutes to go then here, and so far race pace looking very strong. We're getting speeds up there into the 220s now. A few of them doing 222s, 223s, and I suppose JT on a low fuel run we're going to see 218, 217. High fuel run 222, 223. It's going to make a very different 500. Hybrid not making that much big of a difference in terms of race pace, just qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, we've seen hybrid issues for Scott Dixon today, and also previous oval races, with, I believe, Scott Dixon being one of them. We've had hybrid issues. Say what you want about hybrid.
Keeps on changing, keeps on being similar, the same. 43 minutes then remain. Anyone gonna call it a day early and say that's okay? We've got enough race pace
Scott
data now?
Dixon's gonna call it early.
Well, yeah, obviously. Palou, I don't think Palou's going back out there either. He's back in the pit lane. He's done 20 laps. Maybe they want to check the 10 car as well. Surprised he didn't get the pole, but I don't know. Robert Schwarzman and Prema. Have we got over that yet? I don't think we ever will.
No, but well, as they always say, ovals are much different to road and street courses.
Did everyone enjoy yesterday, by the way? Our ending was the Italian national anthem.
And a Jackson Lambros.
Yes. If we heard him. I can't remember.
We did.
Well, Jackson was in the spirit of things, we all were. It was a wonderful day. Oh, hello. The 5's dropped back a bit in the middle of the pack. 96 has lifted off as well. As we're watching. Oh, let's go back to Fox.
Out of the pits. Simpson moves to pass. And Rossi goes around the side of him. Riding on board with Rossi. Here's his view.
Slow, room to move behind here.
Nice little draft up on the 8.
Clear.
No surprise to see Alexander Rossi right in the mix. Has such an excellent record here. Basically, since the day he showed up, he's been fierce.
Now in the middle of that pack, but now going towards the front of this pack, Townsend, David Malukas, you spotted something intriguing on his run.
Well, he was making moves, and I thought, well, I wonder what his tire mileage is. If the data's correct, I show 31 laps on the Firestones for David Malukas. If that is true, James, this would be a run that might be going a little too far, taking too much risk, but his balance looks great. He looks super racy in traffic.
I mean, again, it's rare that you'd have to run that long on a set, but not unheard of if there's some yellow. Not that you're running around under yellow right now.
But we start to circle some favorites as we hear on the radio for David Malukas. They told him this lap and 5 more. If that's the case, that would put him deep into the mid-30s for tire mileage. And remember, that's what got Christian Rasmussen in trouble back on Thursday when he had that spin. So Malukas and team feeling confident despite the 110-degree track temperature as he drafts up. Malukas does on Ed Carpenter in that bright green number 33. So lots of cars to circle, I think, for Sunday. Dreyer Reinbold Racing looking pretty strong.
Yep.
McLaughlin Newgarden, that probably doesn't come as much of a surprise.
Sato jumps up to 5th.
Yeah.
Always goes well.
Always goes well, and just he understands the length of this race. That's something that's so hard to wrap your head around as an IndyCar driver. We don't do multiple 500-mile races a year. We just have the one these days. And it is so much longer than your average IndyCar race. You know, we talk about the difference between 2 and 3 stops at a lot of races. This is a 6, 7, sometimes 8 stop race, depending on how it all goes. You're in the car for 3 to 4 hours, again, depending on yellows, reds, things like that. And one thing that Sato's been so good at since he first came to the Speedway was understanding patience. How this race plays out over a long stretch of time. You slowly work your way up to the front and be there at the end. He's done it multiple times. Of course, he's won it twice, but he's been in contention more than that.
A little bit of foreshadowing here as Helio Castroneves with a narrow blend on Colton Herta, but Robert Schwarzman up front has clean air now, Will. He has 3 laps on his tires, and this is exactly what I was talking about. His team needs to find out, what can we do on our own? What is our pace out front leading? Schwartzman's last lap was 2:17. So that gives him a bit of a read. But I would only do a lap or 2, and then I would want my driver, in this case the 83, to drop back, way back, and pick up the tail end of this field and verify handling at this trim level, at this downforce level.
Yeah, it'd be a great move. Just get a little bit of a sense of everything, because you just don't know. All it takes is one split pit, right? You could be leading the race, a yellow comes out, you pit, half the field decides to stay out to get some track position, and as the leader, through no fault of your own, you can find yourself 15th in line.
The other thing I might do is pit under green and have the team practice a front and rear wing adjustment. Under duress, in 8 seconds, can you trim out, then go get another read in clean air, as Schwarzman is going to pick up the tail end of Will Power, who's just coming out of the pits.
How much are you permitted to practice race-style stops during practice?
For 83 and for Prema Racing, as much as possible.
So
the reason
there's no limitation on.
No, they're during practice week, they give you that 15-minute segment at the end of each day for teams to practice what we call hot stops. That's with, you know, a push into the box and a hot launch out, plugging in the fuel hose. I believe in Carb Day you're permitted to do it as well. I'm not sure what the rules are today.
It's flowing fuel that is the concern for IndyCar mostly, but it doesn't stop you from practicing, putting a tire out on pit lane, your driver going around a tire of another car, the right rear guy running out and hitting it hard, the outside front tire changer going out, hitting that change as hard and swift as possible. Tell your driver, hey, lock up and slide a little long. Hey, stop short, see what happens. If Schwarzman doesn't win the Indy 500, there's a high percentage chance it'll be some of those anomalies that catch them out.
Even something like practicing a wing change. I know that's fairly common on road street courses, not something you normally see on an oval. If you're changing a wing, there's usually a lot more of the car that's damaged, but it's been done before. Dario Franchitti, I believe, in 2012.
And you're not talking wing angle, you're talking the whole assembly.
The whole nose, absolutely.
Yeah. Great point.
Absolutely. Things happen. Things happen, especially in pit lanes. We see a little replay here. Newgarden, that's Andretti on the inside. Rahal nearly the meat in the sandwich. And Newgarden just muscling his way by. He loves an outside move, does Joe New.
Around the outside of one, there's Ray. Ooh, that's squeezy.
Oh my goodness, that could have been a big one.
Committed, though. That's the kind of decisive thing you need to do if you're in that position.
And a great example of how much you rely on your spotter. Had the spotter not picked that up, that almost certainly would have been contact.
Daly having a little look at Devlin DiFrancesco.
The Astro Pop saying, not here, not up in here, not right now.
You may ask why spotters are so important, why they're so crucial. You got to remember, you're going so fast. Your eyes have to be so far ahead. Let's use that example we just saw with Newgarden and Rahal. If Rahal was looking and checking in his mirrors at that moment when Newgarden came alongside of him, he'd be in the wall all by himself. At 220, your eyes need to be way further ahead, halfway around the corner. So the spotter is such a valuable, crucial, absolutely essential part of drivers getting through this race safely.
Just over 35 minutes of this practice session remaining. This isn't the final practice that the drivers will have. Guys, we've talked about it, but for those new to IndyCar, Carb Day, what does that involve?
Consumption.
Tire consumption, fuel consumption, that kind of thing?
Just total consumption.
Mass consumption.
Yes.
Look, Carb Day is essentially what we're seeing right here. It's just the last opportunity that teams get to tune on these race cars. The name comes from Carburation Day. We don't have carburetors anymore in the IndyCar series, but it's also a party. It's one of the best days for fans to be here. It's one drivers love. The pit stop competition happens on Carb Day, and maybe a few other fun things happen on Carb Day this year.
How about a Twinkie and a Twizzler on a Friday? Will?
How about every day, Town?
Just Wednesday for him.
How about every day?
So, 35 minutes to go. Cash Neves jumps up then to second place, 226.441. Now, Fox, in the Sky, actually remember to go to an ad break now as well, at the correct times. What are you making then, JT? I reckon we're going to have a few more side-by-side runs, but drivers are already nearly crashing it out, and they don't want to hook up their best car.
Yeah, and, well, you save that for Carb Day. All of the runs that they're doing now, and hopefully keep it out the wall. We've had one in the wall already, but that was Christian Rasmussen, the same he did last time a couple of days ago, but just a little bit more damage, but not that much. Still a very good save compared to other crashes we've seen at Turn 2 this week.
Yes, evidently as well, as they'll come in again. My phone is now not working with what I was trying to get hold of, which isn't great because I was trying to get hold of Prema's response to it. Basically, it's not coming up, but basically what they said was Prema accept the penalties and they're going to announce the future details of the crews for the two.
I'm guessing you mean Penske.
Well. Yeah, what was I say?
Prema.
Yeah, the other one, yeah. You know the one I'm on about. So they're going to announce it in due course. Kind of makes more sense to me that they need to do that. Do you reckon that it's almost not worth saying that, yeah, we're going to have this, that, in case it gets spoiled? We'll see that. Let's do back to Fox.
Welcome to the four-time Carb wins the Indianapolis 500. Arguably the greatest.
Or not, as... Fine. Yeah, so they're going to announce exactly who's who in a minute and get it all sorted. It could be worse, JT.
That is Boles. 2 laps to go. And the winner. Welcome to the four-time Carb wins the Indianapolis 500. Arguably the greatest driver of his era.
The Indianapolis 500. The richest, most colorful race in the world.
May 25th, 2025, 10 a.m. on Fox. Join us here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 109th running of the Indy 500. Will it be either of these two? Alex Palou looking for his first Indy 500 win. Elio Castroneves looking for 5.
Elio Castroneves looking to make a move right now on Palou. He opts to back out of it and tuck in. Palou on pretty fresh tires looks to catch the tail end of the field. Connor Daly, the next car up ahead.
Interesting to see that even with the tow, when Palou was utilizing the hybrid deployment, Elio couldn't quite put the move, couldn't quite have a look.
Yeah, watching Robert Schwarzman right now, James, I really think that they should at least pull him back, let him drop back behind Hunter Ray, maybe Kyle Larson there. I know you want to lead, but you also want to expect that you're going to get past, as Schwarzman does, and look at how far he drops back.
Yeah,
big lift there. That's not ideal.
That's not a guy that's super comfortable with falling back in line behind a car, and that's just one car, T-Bell. It's almost best case scenario as Larson now looks to line him up.
Yeah, it's going to get really difficult for Schwarzman, and he now leans into the throttle, but here comes Larson on the pole sitter. Whoa, that was late.
And that's what you're going to see in the race. That was great experience for both those guys.
Kevin down on pit lane.
So when we talk about Robert Schwarzman, as he told us yesterday, hey, I may be fast, but I still have a lot to learn, as he goes back around for a position to lead this pack. This is all new. Oval racing is brand new, but he has a lot of help. We heard from Ryan Briscoe. One of the people on his spotter stand, Hinch is very familiar with. Robert Gouet has been in the paddock for many years with Mick Peterson, Errol McLaren. He is the strategist. He is also an engineer. And then also opposite Robert is his new engineer just for the month of May. You wonder, how did they get better? Well, it's certainly more than just one person, but Eric likely has a lot to do with that. He was Joseph Newgarden's engineer at Team Penske in 2022 when they finished second in the championship. Before that, he worked with Pratt Miller on the engine side of things. This is a month of May only deal for Likely, at least for now, because he has another job. He works at SpaceX, so they're really smart people down there in that Prema camp, helping them go fast in their very first oval experience.
Now it makes sense. I quite literally have been telling people, man, Schwarzman had a real rocket in qualifying. Well, got a rocket scientist on the stand. That all fits.
You guys were saying, you know, we've been talking about this. You can hustle the car, you can drive a car, you can keep your foot flat to the floor as we get a replay of Larson and Schwarzman getting closer every time.
That's a gnarly moment for practice as we watch from Will Power up ahead. There goes Larson. Awfully late move.
Incredibly late move. You can't really do the slide job in an Indy car the way you can in a sprint car, the way Kyle Larson's so used to doing.
You just get the feeling that in the cockpit, Larson's just like, didn't have a good enough run.
I'll give it away.
We're all excited, like, wow, that was almost 2 cars in the fence.
And the reason is, once Schwarzman doesn't give up the corner, cuts back down in front of Larson, he takes all that air off of Larson's front wing, and it creates a tremendous loss of downforce, loss of front grip. And you saw Larson push up a little bit, but he actually handled it pretty well.
Again, 28 minutes to go. I really would think you'd want to get a study on your race car for Schwarzman by dropping 5 or 6 cars back right now. He's sort of leading or just running second, and guys are letting him by to go back to the lead. Good practice for race day. He learns where his controls need to be, but I think you need to be prepared that you might come out 5th, 6th after a set of pit stops and have to fight your way forward.
Well, if they have been focusing...
Now they drop him back. He's doing just that.
If they have been focusing more on qualifying throughout practice week, this is kind of their first shot at really proper group running. Maybe what they're doing is getting him comfortable behind 1, 2, 3 cars. We still have Carb Day. We still have 2 hours of practice on Friday to work through being 5th, 8th, 10th in line.
Now Will Power takes a look at Schwarzman. There's a bit of a checkup going on here as Connor Daly goes around Christian Lundgaard. So Schwarzman runs 3rd in line right now. There's 20 laps on his tires. This will be a pretty good read, but the problem is that Louis Foster just lifted and let him by again. I wonder if Schwarzman's indicating there that he'll be coming to pit lane.
Side by side in 3. Go to the bottom, Palou on top. Backing out of it, getting back in line. That was pretty spicy. Castroneves behind that battle. And this is what it comes down to, guys. So often in the race, you know, you heard drivers talk about how difficult it is to pass here. We see Rosenquist making a move on his team boss. But you do so much of your work. You get so many of your positions through other people making mistakes. It's about being patient, watching it unfold in front of you.
Third fastest man of the day, Jack Harvey, sits on pit road, and I think we're going to get to talk to him via an intermediary. Kevin.
Hey, Will, still up on the spotter stand, and since we have someone in the race on the payroll, Fox pit reporter Jack Harvey, normally racing this time around, I have taken Aaron Nelson's headset here in the Turn 1 spotter stand, so let's just find out how it's going.
Hollywood respond to Jack Carb. Jack, you copy. Hollywood is on. Why are you not recording from pit lane right now?
I am just a tiny bit busy, honestly, but it's, I know you guys are going to take care of it for me, so let me just focus on driving.
Your help yesterday. All right, real quick, how's the car today? What are you learning?
Car's in a really good window, actually. We checked up all our wings, we know where we're at there. Yeah, car's in a really good spot. We can dice it up from the front, we can hang out of the back. The guys have worked really well on their 24s to give me a good weapon.
Copy, it's been fun watching you up here.
Thank you, lads.
That was a very positive report. Incredible, Jack Harvey. Might be the best pit lane report he's done all year.
Car's feeling good. He said we've checked all of our wings, so we're happy on that. What he means by that is you can replace those entire front wing assemblies like we were mentioning earlier, and sometimes there's a slight difference in them, as we see Daly getting a little forceful with Louis Foster. And so what you do is you go and do a few laps, or even just a lap, with each different wing on the car, and the engineers can measure any discrepancies, any differences in the aero percentage that wing has over another. As now Daly makes a move on VK. Daly making some good moves out on the racetrack.
And he's had good pace today as well, just down to P8 at the moment, Connor Daly, but he's been looking pretty racy out there. Guys, if you're looking at Robert Schwarzman right now, the fact he's spending so much time out front, does that tell you he's expecting to be out front, or just that he's not really utilizing his time as effectively as he might, as we're going to get a pass of Pelot and Lingard?
Yeah, this is a replay, actually, of what we saw just a few laps ago, as Pelot so perfectly and surgically timed his turn in there on Christian Lingard. Two cars getting pretty close, but going back to Schwarzman up front, yeah, he's getting good practice, but he's been doing this now for several laps, and now he's at the end of a tire stint. So, hey, they've got 24 minutes left. So now, if I'm Prema, hey, pitch your guy. That's what it's like leading at the Indy 500 over a full stint. Now we want to put new tires on full fuel, and we want you to go suffer in dirty air for the rest of the session, just in case we end up there.
Well, he's got 26 laps on this set, nearly a full stint for Schwarzman. I don't think he's got time to come in, fill up, because they don't get to use the fast fuelers and do another full stint.
That's a good point, but what he can practice is coming to pit lane in anger. Remember that big lockup that he had earlier in the session? Now's the time to make the brake bias adjustment, maybe change your roll bar and weight jacker settings to optimize your car for that one heavy threshold brake zone.
As Daly leads the pack, Olsen right behind him.
23 minutes to go then in this Monday test session for the 109th running of the Indy 500. Cars flying out there around the circuit. Down towards turn number 1 as well comes the Prema squad, with our pole sitter leading the way just behind. Back out on track also. He's going to come as well, the 20 of Alexander Rossi. And JT, when edging closer to the end of the day, and a crucial 2 hours where the drivers have learned exactly what it's going to be like. An extra little carb day ahead of us, because they are now ready for a proper race, is what we're going to see on Friday. I don't think you can hear me. Diving down pit road, Scott McLaughlin. First time that you can actually attempt to use the turn 4 pit lane here from now on. You can dart in, make pit stop practice, and hard on the brakes. They had 15 minutes earlier on in the weekend to do so. Love hearing the cars fly past as they head down the backstretch. Few going for moves. Schwarzman, Daly and Hertz have come into the pit lane as well. Jack Harvey already in. You can see they're all diving down pit road, not wanting to do any more running for now, including now our pole sitter. Julian asking, is this it until Friday? Says Joshua. Yes, it is. This is it until Friday. Well, we'll run Carb day. And Julian asking which car's looking good and which look bad. Prema look bad, are bad. Prema look fast again. Dry and Reinbold look good. Sato looks quick. McLaughlin look quick with O'Ward.
Schwarzman in and for a practice stop. See how they fare. Left front could be a bit cleaner. Left front could be cleaner again.
Yeah. These are the things. Right rear took a little extra time as well. So issues left front, right rear. They have 6 days to get all of those little quirks dialed in.
And right behind them on pit lane, you see the 5 crew of Pato O'Ward, one of the fastest on pit lane consistently. There's going to be a few opportunities here for teams to make up moves in pit lane, and the pressure's definitely on the 83 crew, staring down the wheel gun barrels of the 5 crew.
Just watch the left front here, Will.
Yeah. Doesn't go on first time.
And right rear having trouble getting off as well.
Yeah, it's a whole discussion there with the air jack, and then the left front doesn't land. So that is not what you want. As we take another look at the right rear, it just looks frantic. It looks rushed. And these are hard issues to fix in a few days, James, given the number of months that teams train all season.
Let's see if he's going to do that again, or if he's coming in for good.
One of the golden rules here in pit lane is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You almost want to slow your movements down, not try to rush them as the wheel pops up. Oh no, maybe the wheel was popping off there.
Yeah, it was better than before. Always started to go in the mountain back, so I was leading, but like I could defend and, you know, overtake.
It's certainly an intriguing one for this new team. There will never be more of a spotlight on them or higher pressure.
Based on what I saw right there, James, this does not look like a group quite ready to win. Can they really dial things in? Number one, Schwarzman did not run deep in traffic very much. He led the most of the time. Number two, that's nowhere near the kind of precision that you want to see from the pit crew 6 days before the race. And not under duress, right? That's a pit stop practice. That's not for position under caution with 30 laps to go.
You're right. There's definitely some work to do, but look, the race can be won other ways too, right? It's not always necessarily how it plays out as we ride on board driver's eye view with Joseph Newgarden. But one thing that I want to just bring your attention to, I was going to circle it on the telestrator, but it's literally all of it. Look at all the dirt, all the debris that is on the windscreen. You get those bits of rubber that fall off the tires, they hit that windscreen, they make those marks. The aero screen does have a tear off, like a thin plastic sheet that they can pull off in a pit stop. But you can see here, Newgarden has done, what, 71 laps, less than half the distance of a 500. And already, look at how your vision is being impaired when driving at 220.
But I'm watching how this thing handles in traffic as Newgarden pulls up there on, was that Rinus VK? Can't tell on our plotter. No,
Ryan
it's 23
Hunter-Reay.
of Ryan Hunter-Reay. Now, Newgarden only 10 laps on his tires right now, but this is what you want to be working on this Monday practice. Start at the back, drive through the field, pull over, let him by, try to do it again.
You saw that quick look to the left as he was waiting to pull out on Felix Rosenquist. So just sees him check in the mirror
That's what I love about this driver's eye view. So much different than the view from atop the roll hoop. Adjustment to the roll bar there. Once you're in that clean air out front, the handling is different. Handling changes. You got to make adjustments through your tools as soon as you get that clean air.
Watch him pull over and lift. He's going to drop back, I believe. No, he's going to lead for a lap.
As we drop back to Marcus Ericsson, courtesy of Allegra. Let's see how the steering inputs change, how different they are on board the Andretti as opposed to being on board the Penske.
You can already see the difference in steering wheel construction and layout.
Steering wheel looks bigger to me too. Does it look like a slightly bigger diameter?
Could be. I know there are multiple options. I think we maybe saw him hit that WJ button with his left thumb. That's left weight jacker, trying to add a little bit of weight across the front axle to the left side. That's trying to search for more front grip, which is pretty common when you're this far back in a train of cars. He's going to try to get as low as he can behind Scott McLaughlin, try to get that left side of his wing, a little bit of clean air through four.
Half stint on Ericsson's tires, showing 16 on our data.
Pit.
Gets the call to pit. We'll jump in next time round.
Hearing Kyle Larson might have been off track. Is that possible? He spends a lot of time on the dirt, but he is on the dust, and he is dangerously low to that apex curb as he powers past his teammate Christian Lundgaard. But James, you can get close, but you do not want to touch those bad boys.
Final 15 minutes of this practice session. And the drivers getting their last minutes in. Helio P2, he is indeed on a 226.441. Last lap times are 2:14.698 as well. So there's a few other bits coming back in for what is the greatest spectacle in racing. A lot of intrigue and experts actually coming through. It's going to be quite an exciting race. Don't forget, after we race at Indianapolis, we will go to Detroit. The streets will be waiting for us. IMSA will team up once again there. McLaughlin down in 15th at the moment. Correction, where is McLaughlin? Just lost Scotty Mack on the overall runs of things. Either way though, at the moment, it's a positive result for Alex Palou. As into the pit lane, Herta, Hunter-Ray, Rob, Power and Lundgaard. We are in to closing moments of practice. We shall return with Fox shortly as the cars billow past the commentary box. And slowly but surely the tension builds as to what an impressive and unusual weekend we are about to have. I, for one, am very excited. Don't know where this one's going to lead. Rumours of problematic runs still could be there. Let's go back over to Fox then for the final 10 minutes. With Will Buxton, Townsend Bell and James Hinchcliffe, Kevin Lee and Georgia Henry.
Across Indianapolis this month, Fox Sports and Fox Corporation teamed up with Purple Heart Homes to renovate the homes of veterans in need. The work creates barrier-free living environments to improve safety and accessibility, increase independence and facilitate aging in place. To learn how you can help serve veterans across the country, visit go.fox/purplehearthomes. There is your fastest man. There is your championship leader, Alex Palou, 226.765. Elio, P2. Takuma Sato has jumped up to third. Then it's Jack and Ryan Hunter-Ray, fourth and fifth.
Good speed from Dry Reinbold Racing. a team that will compete in just this race this season, 2 drivers that will only compete in this race this season. And I think that's been the story for me of this Indy 500 is the underdogs, right? Punching with strength and savvy.
What I would love to see is Newgarden do this entire lap out front, not fall back as Rossi makes a move on the inside of Devlin DiFrancesco. That was a good move. Dev was in the draft. Just breathe the throttle a little bit to try and give himself the room he wanted behind Newgarden. Rossi took that opportunity to show him the savviness of Rossi.
I watched Newgarden lead a full lap earlier, James, and it was a 2:17.5, but it looked like he was working the knobs pretty heavily, like it was a fuel save run, running lean on engine settings. So maybe this will be a full boost read for the 2.
Well, that's just it. Part of this session is getting a feel for your car, feel for your tires over an entire stint. 2:18.2 was Newgarden's speed across the line. So leading out front in the 2:18s, that's a solid pace for a car leading.
Compares pretty favorably to what we saw from Schwarzman leading as well on his own.
These cars all running pretty close together. Palou able to keep right up the back of the car in front of him. Fairly new set of tires on the number 10. That's a Ward in front of him.
And Schwarzman pulling in behind the 2 of them. Those 3 could find themselves up at the front in the early part of the running of the 109th running of the Indy 500. There is Schwarzman. His no-toe times are decent compared to your Newgardens and the like out there on track, but this is where it's going to count. Now he's actually in traffic and having to work this out for the first time.
Yeah, this is a big-time chunk of rookie learning that Schwarzman will dig into now. And with 10 minutes to go, Will, and what is our 30th year of live broadcasting in Indianapolis, how has your rookie experience been? You have traveled the world on global motorsport assignments, but you have never done this. How does this compare for you?
I've never broadcasted 7 days in a row. I'll tell you that much. What an absolute thrill. What an absolute joy. There's something about this place. There is a magic, like a soul in this circuit that just makes you come alive. It's tremendous.
I can't wait. You know, you've seen soul and spirit for this place, but I can't wait until you see what happens on Sunday.
I'm so looking forward to it. So looking forward to it.
Guys, Rossi just falling back into the group here, and I get it, because the lap that he just ran out front, once he got around Newgarden, that was a 2:18.9, significantly quicker than what we saw on that lap from Newgarden. Now, again, we don't know engine settings exactly, but to me, that 20 looks like a pretty potent car out front. Let's get back in traffic and keep working on that.
Yeah, I like Rossi, not just this session, but frankly all week long in traffic. He's looked to be one of the best out there.
Totally agree. Don't sleep on Rossi. He always runs well here.
Rossi does. He was the golden winner here on his rookie year, something that now Robert Schwarzman is looking to emulate as well. Coincidentally, both of them were actually linked to the Manor team back in the day. And Robert Schwarzman then moved over. He was part of the Ferrari Academy, which Manor was producing at that point as well. For Marussia and Manor were very much mainly, before Haas came along, the Ferrari B team. Then Haas took that over, and now Haas have sort of gone Toyota's way. It's weird how the teams have sort of been evolving over the years. 8 minutes to go then until the practice session concludes. It does feel that 2 hours today has dragged. It's felt like it's been more a 6-hour broadcast as well. That might just be because, you know, it's Monday and everyone's been out there doing a lot of runs, 44 laps, 50 laps as well. Highest, I think, on the board, 76 laps from Callum Ilott, 81 laps from Will Power, who now comes into the pit lane as well. 80 laps for Christian Lundgaard on that timing tower. I think, though, it is going 85 for Joseph Newgarden. So it's Newgarden who's got the highest lap count of the day, as they fly past once more. Rosenquist is into the pit lane. Yeah, Pelo's still up there. Looking stronger and stronger. Once again, I'm just thinking that we're going to have an interesting run of things as we get ready to head back over to Fox Sports. 7 minutes to go. Pelot, Cashnevez, Sato, Harvey, Hunter Ray, your top 5.
Back at Indianapolis for the last 7 minutes of practice. There is Alex Pelot once again.
Whoa, breaking news. The bottom of the screen.
There you go.
Hinchtown happy hour.
You don't want to miss it, guys. At Root and Bone in South Broad Ripple. Carb Day night from 5 to 8. Limited space available. We're going to be sipping some nice drinks, some beautiful bourbon, some snacks from Root and Bone. And I mean, it's exactly right. This is something I'm doing in conjunction with Kevin Lee. And Kevin's got his own gig as well tonight on Monday night. Kev, tell us about the Burger Bash.
Burger Bash right behind turn 1, gate 1, right next to the admin building. Free parking just to the west of the stage, the roundabout on Crawfordsville. A lot of drivers will be there. We'll do the radio show there and have a lot of fun and raise money to help cure cancer for the IU Simon Cancer Center.
Awesome. Love that. Kevin, you had me at burgers.
Oh, yeah.
Not a bourbon?
I'll take that, too. By the way, your food at your place, strong to quite strong. Thanks for having us last week. A great meal to be had at the Root and Bone also.
I was going to say, we went to Root and Bone the other day. The owner's a bit tetchy.
Well, come on now. I'm not the only one. But, yeah, if you're interested in tickets to the Hinchtown Happy Hour, head to my Twitter profile at Hinchtown. There's a link on there. Space is limited, but go to a great cause. The Stop and Go Foundation helping raise money for a mobile blood unit to go everywhere the IndyCar Series travels and collect valuable blood.
Well,
I'd offer mine, but I'm 75% Twinkie.
Yeah, yours. We wouldn't get much blood out of you. It's just there's some blood in your sugar system.
Yes.
Alex Pelot continues to work the backside of Pato Award as he said, no, I think I'm going to go to pit lane.
Ah, 40 hours of
39,
live
39.
commentary. 39.
Finish
39.
strong, gentlemen.
Always the intention.
Objection phrasing. Look,
again,
guys, I love the fact that Helio Castroneves, a 4-time winner, has found his way to the top. He knows how to work traffic here. Takuma Sato, a 2-time winner, front row starter, has found his way to the top.
Question I have is, what does our buddy Robert Schwarzman have for tire mileage right now? Because he's been kind of mid-pack and looking like he's hanging on as Alex Pelot peels off. Schwarzman just 13 laps on the tires as now everybody decides, hey, with 4 minutes, we're going to do pit stop practice.
And look, how about Dry Reinbold racing, guys? Right now, 4th and 5th on the charts with Harvey and Hunter Ray. We've talked about it a lot. These are two drivers that only race the Indy 500 every year. This is a team that only competes in the Indy 500. As far as the IndyCar Series goes, it's Devlin DiFrancesco getting squirrely coming out of his pit box. But right now, two very solid race cars. We heard from Jack. He said he's comfortable in his car.
Hey, check this out. We saw Schwarzman pit stop earlier. This is 12. This is Team Penske, willpower.
Boom.
We're looking for crisp, concise stops, and that's just a different league right now than where Prema's at.
And that's who you got to beat. This is a team sport, guys, and that once the green flag drops, yes, it's the driver behind the wheel, but still every member going over the wall plays just as integral a part of the outcome as the driver does. And that example right there, I hate to say it, but it's almost got to make a team like Prema a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, you got to come out of this session and think, okay, we know we have a fast car. We know we're going to start on pole, but there is a laundry list of things that we need to clean up right now as we'll ride on board for willpower. No lockup in the brake zone. Perfectly timed. Nice and calm.
Watch yourself here. Got some cars doing stops, Will.
But this is what it looks like when you're the driver on the team that has won more pit stop competitions than anybody. There goes DiFrancesco.
Guys, 3, 2, 1 on the mark.
You hear on the mark, the driver plays just as big a part in this stop being smooth.
Now, to be fair, there was a slight bobble in placing the left front, but it really didn't hold them up at all.
When you're Prema, and you know that you're now fighting for the first position in this race, you're starting from the pole, you will be fighting up the front. How much more pressure does that put on you?
Oh, tremendous, and it starts today. As you think about what every movement needs. Listen, it always matters on pit lane. But when you're the pole, James, you've been a pole setter. Talk to us about what that was like for you and your team in the days leading up to the big show.
It was stressful as heck, guys, because here's the thing. If you qualify mid-pack, you're thinking about how you can win it, but you're thinking that you've got to go a little bit off strategy to do it, off book to do it. When you're starting first, second, third on that front row, there's immediately a pressure and an expectation that not just you could win it, but you should win it. You should be in that conversation.
And I qualified fourth that year, but I'm a one-off, so I'm thinking, I don't even know how my guys are going to handle pressure on race day. I've never done it with them before, and you don't find out until you're in the heat of the battle.
One of the things about the way this week works, yes, you get pole yesterday, it's great, it's phenomenal, but you're immediately the next day, you don't have time to enjoy it really, because immediately the next day you're back in race trim and you were already so hyper-focused on, okay, fine, we've got this starting spot, how do we translate that into a victory next Sunday?
There we see the other Prema car of Callum Eilot, who will start much deeper in the field than his teammate. He's 21st as they roll off on race day. So quite a disparity between the two cars as Alex Palou back up to speed after some pit stop practice himself.
Of course, it is a rarity to win this race from pole position because so much can go wrong.
Let's see how they do here, Bill. If it's going to be another hot stop.
It will be a pit stop with launch, pit stop with launch.
Pit stop with launch.
Oh, I was like, something about a lounge? Maybe that's the after party?
3, 2, 1.
He's coming, he's a little bit at an angle.
Way at an angle.
It's tough to get into your box on the oval because of the way the car is set up. This is just experience, repetition. Much cleaner stop this time around.
Now, there was a car in the box behind him. So
that's going to happen in the race.
It is, but it makes it a little more difficult, but he would make it a lot easier on his crew to be getting things squared up. This is important practice. These are sticker tires. Schwarzman practicing an outlap, another big box to tick for the rookie driver.
The way you accelerate off pit lane speed limit around the acceleration lane inside of turn 1 and inside of turn 2, and then the way you blend in to traffic in turn 3, very, very important as the checkered flag falls on our 2-hour practice on Monday. 2 hours of track time left, Will, before these cars roll out onto the grid and these drivers suit up for the biggest race of the year.
And interestingly, given the headlines, given the stories rolling in today, who ran the most laps today? Will Power, Joseph Newgarden.
One more shot for the 83 team. Hot tires coming in. We'll see if they practice again or decide to head to the lounge. They're practicing. Better position from Schwarzman. Air jack guy missed the grab on the right rear. So little bobbles there. Lot to clean up, lot to work with, but they have the data, they have video now to study, and they can go to work.
And critically, they have time. They have time. Palou, then, your fastest driver of practice, back to where we've been used to seeing him pretty much all week. Then Elio Castro-Neves going for his 5th. Takuma Sato going for his 3rd. Jack Harvey and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Siegel, Power, Newgarden, Rasmussen, who had a crash, and Connor Daly. Joseph Newgarden will be going for his 3rd consecutive win here at the Indianapolis 500, but he will have to do it now from the final row of the grid. This man, your pole sitter. Work to do for Prema in the days leading up to the race. And all eyes on taking the Ford Warner Trophy. The Indy 500 comes your way May 25th. Coverage starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. Next on FS1, first things first. And thanks to James, Townsend, Kevin, and Georgia for the past 7 days. Our thanks to you for watching. We'll see you back here for Carb Day.
Day's concluded then. There we have it. Everybody has done a run on the final day. I don't know if JT's got a mic near him. I'd like to get his final thoughts if possible. Hello. What do you think then going in to Carb Day and the final? He's fighting for control of his mic right now.
Hello.
Hello, what do you think going into Carb Day?
Hopefully people keep it out of the wall.
Do you reckon we will have a surprise crash?
We normally do on Carb Day, don't we?
Yeah. Well, join us then on Friday. My thanks to JT for being with me for the whole week and putting up with the shenanigans. We'll be back then on Friday for the last practice session.
I actually get to have a rest.
Same here. My voice thanks us. Cheers, JT. It's been fun as always. Thanks to everyone at home as well. We got one more practice session. That's on Friday. Plus the pit stop practice. And then the 109th running of the Indy 500. Good night to you all.